I'm not going to help somebody get something my Negroes don't have. If I'm going to die, I'll die now, right here fighting you. If I'm going to die, you my enemy. My enemies are white people, not Chinese or Japanese. You my opposer when I want freedom. You my opposer when I want justice. You my opposer when I want equality. You won't even stand up for me in America for my religious beliefs, and you want me to go somewhere and fight, but you won't even stand up for me here at home.
No, I don't worry. I'll tell you, I'm a man who believed that I died 20 years ago. And I live like a man who is dead already. I have no fear whatsoever. Anybody.
It seems to me that white America must see that no other ethnic group has been a slave on American soil. America freed the slave in 1863 through the Emancipation Proclamation, but gave the slaves no land. And at the same time, America was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that there was a willingness to give the white peasants from Europe an economic base. Yet it refused to give its black peasants from Africa, who came here involuntarily in chains and had free for 244 years, any kind of economic base. And so emancipation for the Negro was really freedom to hunger. And when white Americans tell the Negro to lift himself by his own bootstraps, it's a cruel jest to say to a bootless man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps.
I'm saying should evolve into what we call the Realist temple on earth. We was already doing for ourselves. Even all the oppression, we were accomplishing things far greater than the black and blacks have done. They've done very little, except bring you the teaching, the belief, because that's all teaching is. I believe. Don't need to believe no more. We need to know.
Just keep it going. Just keep it going.
It's all about the unity. There's nothing they can do with us. So ain't nobody
in a state of emergency. Prejudice. Wrote a song about it? Like to hear it? Here it go. Free your mind.
Keep it real.
What dear?
Because I keeps it real like that. I keeps it real.
Just keep it going.
And I am also your soul brother. Number one.
Just keep it going.
Everybody who is black and interested in black people, let us sit down and find out how we can get together in one direction against one enemy and accomplish this job overnight.
When soul singer and black activist Sam Cooke wrote the lyrics to his song, "A Change Is Gonna Come," it was very direct and to the point. With some changes to it, the song was still digestible. In the year 2019, black folks continue to go through the change rather than direct the change. A community activist named Taalik Ibn'rad has made an appeal similar to what Sam Cooke was asking for. A change. It's said that the meek shall inherit the earth. We ask when. When will the landlords give the meek a free lease? Mr. Ibn'rad is humbly asking for the state of Mississippi. This is Dusty Basement Studios, and we approve of this message.
right. Bro, you a genius. I ain't gonna lie. This is like, bro, you go down like a Elijah Muhammad. This one. You finna go down history with this one. I swear to God, bro.
Well, I'm their child. You know, we all their children.
Yeah, but bro, you know, you your own, you different, bro. Yeah. I mean, to think of that. I mean, bro, this is genius. Like, I don't just say stuff just to be saying it. Like, I swear to God, bro, you are really on something to come up with this. I don't know how you came up with this.
But Charles Lowe talks about the fact that if you really want black power, consider going into 6 states Now I'm going to come on this with what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us as it relates to get states that you control. And so when you look at the idea of returning back Louisiana, as far north as Maryland, Alabama, okay, the Carolinas, there's a lot of black folk. Mississippi is the largest state of black folk. More black folk in Mississippi than any other state in the 50. And so if we were to do that and go into our own, become our own senators, we would up the amount of black senators immediately, Congress people immediately. We would up, and by the way, when you run in the state, when you run in certain things, you don't have to ask nobody for reparations. They give you reparations. Something we can do. This is doable.
The Mississippi campaign represents everything that you claim that you want. The beginning of an all-black independent nation. The ability to control your own resources. Your politics. The law. Be able to do your own thing for a change. Create an economy. Create and produce goods that Africa or anybody on the planet would want. You're fake, you don't want to do nothing. 3 hours talking about the Mississippi campaign.
Let's see, Taalik says, can you send a shout out to my platform, the Realities Temple on Earth Internet Ministry? Our theme this year is After Purge Comes the Healing. Shout out to your platform, Taalik. All the best to you guys with continuing to stretch in perspective, to stretch in what is possible, and to continue to bring healing into the space of yourself and others. Yes.
It's not flowing. Just keep it going.
My black people, it's all of unity. There's nothing they can do with us, so ain't nobody moving me. Like Dr. King, we make it plain and simple. Bringing knowledge and fire at reality's temple. Reality's temple. My black people, it's all about the unity. There's nothing they can do with us, so ain't nobody moving me. Like Dr. King, we make it plain and simple. Bringing knowledge and fire.
It's not flowing. Just keep it going.
And you don't realize it. You don't realize it that God has been imprisoned. The devil was able to imprison God. So right inside your own self, your God self has been imprisoned, and you have a false sense of self running rampant inside the temple. This is why, you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
We have to bring reality's temple here on earth. Reality's temple here on earth.
Yes, sir.
We have to realize the enemy is running rampant inside this temple.
And that is Brother Taalik from the Reality Temples.
Are you there, brother?
Hold on. Yeah, we here.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, you fine.
Okay. Well, thanks for allowing me on this live platform this evening. You know, to speak truth to power once again in this universe. First of all, I would like to start saying that I would send shout outs. First of all, thank you, brother Taalik. And I send shout outs to all those who are in the live chat section, listening and watching this live stream, and also to those of you on Facebook that may be watching this live stream, and those of you that will be watching it once it's posted after the live is over with. And but yes, the topic is do we come from families or do we come from the streets? That's the topic. And I'm gonna go right straight into it. You know, yesterday I thought about something earlier yesterday, and I was actually thinking about my own personal experiences with family. Well, I would say in my case, so-called family anyway, but biological relatives, which I usually would say. And I thought about my experiences. Now, I still talk to some here and there, or whatever, you know. I still talk to some, even on a regular basis. But of course, like so many of us who came from dysfunctional, as we call dysfunctional families, in so many cases, I'm one of those people. And I would like to say that, you know, it took me a long time to learn that it's a big difference between being a biological blood relative and a family member, because you can even go look in the dictionary, I'm sure, and find that the real definition of family means basically anybody that you're close to or considered to being close to is family. And that doesn't have to just necessarily be attached with a biological relative. And people, for some reason, have a hard time understanding this, you know. But needless here to say, the reason I want to go on this topic, because a lot of people, I never seen no one on social media, nor outside of social media, ever speak on the such topic that I'm about to speak on right now, that I just mentioned. Because, like I said, I thought about, first of all, yesterday, how my own parents met. And I'm going to take you down through a little memory lane story, which is true, you know, which led to my eventual existence here on this planet Earth. Now, I was born in Detroit, Michigan. And as you know, you got two famous known housing projects in Detroit, Michigan, that was, of course, built in the 1930s. And one of them was the Brewster Projects, and another one, which is right on the other side of town, was the Jeffrey Projects. Now, the Brewster Projects, you had different Motown singers like Smokey Robinson and Diana Ross that came up out the Brewster Projects. And I believe you also had some famous people that came up out of the Jeffries too. But definitely, I do know that some of the Motown's greatest music legends, like a couple that I named, actually were raised up and brought up in the Brewster Projects. prior to them becoming famous music artists and stuff like that for Motown. But usually when people hear about the Brewster Projects, they hear about the Brewster Center because Joe Louis and another great boxer named Sugar Ray Robinson trained there, which was a recreation center for the local neighborhood, which was the Brewster Projects. Okay. But they don't never go into the dark side of what the Brewster Projects was like, even before I was born in the late 60s. And they also, you never too much hear about the dark side of the Jeffrey Projects either. But for those of you that are from Detroit who may be listening or will possibly be listening in on this live stream, definitely know what I'm talking about. But it was a time, and this started like, this as far as I know, that go way back to the 50s and 60s, okay? Right even before I was born, where it was a gang rivalry, territory rivalry going on between the Brewster and Jeffrey Projects, okay? Because you got one street, Long Street in Detroit, the longest street in Detroit called Woodward, okay? And it stretches all the way from downtown Detroit further into the suburban areas of Detroit. But this particular area where the Brewsters and the Jeffreys was like Midtown. But both one, the Brewsters was on the east side of Woodward, and the Jeffreys was on the other side, which was the west side of Woodward. And so these different gangs from these two different housing projects would, you know, come in contact with each other from both sides. And these were street warring gangs, you know. And my father, who's still around today in his 70s, happened to be a part of one of them gangs, the gangs out of the Brewster Projects, okay? And the fact is that the Brewster Projects and the Jeffrey Projects did not like each other as a result of that. They just simply couldn't get along. And, you know, even that was kind of going on even after I was born, you know, where you still had a sense of rivalry going on between those two housing projects. So, you know, I come to find out that my father and my uncle on my mother's side, my uncle, may he rest in peace, you know, ended up somehow becoming friends, you know. And plus they was hustlers. Both of them was hustling because that part of Woodward, where you was in the Midtown area close to downtown, that was one of the biggest hustling and bustling spots during that time of the 60s in Detroit, you know, and stuff like that. And but anyway, however, they somehow ended up meeting each other on the streets. I don't know if it was through the gang robbery contact. I don't know how it went down, but they ended up becoming good friends with each other. So my uncle, this led to my uncle taking my father around to where him and my mother grew up in the Jeffrey Projects. And from that point, that's how my mother and father got introduced to each other. Well, with that said, this prompt me to want to talk about this, speak on this topic, because a lot of families end up, well, a lot of people with kinfolk connection ties end up coming from people that actually met each other from the streets. And so when people say that we come from families, no. What is the origin, at least here in America? I'm not speaking about nowhere else, but at least here in America, what is the origin of how the sense of families start coming about? Usually it's because somebody that met somebody in the streets, whether it was on the street corner, whether it was at a club, a shopping mall, whether it was at a church or at a festival somewhere or somewhere. They met each other, but they met each other on the streets. They didn't like wake up and the person that they met on the street was standing right there. You know, they met them on the streets. And this is how so many families end up being divided, because like in my case, my grandmother, on my maternal side, which is my mother's side, did not really care for my father. She didn't like him. So anyhow, after I was born and throughout my life, as time went on, I ended up becoming involved in this some kind of way. And see, that's one thing I learned, that people should not involve a child in domestic relative disputes like that, you know, especially if it has something to do with the parents and both the grandparents some kind of way. You see what I'm saying? That child should not be involved in that, because see, that leaves emotional scars, physical scars, and even mental scars on that child forever, even up into adulthood, you know? And a lot of people don't realize this. And so as time went on, I started seeing the way that my deceased mom's deceased mother, may she rest in peace also, started acting toward me in a negative manner. And there was a result because of her feelings, her ill feelings or whatever toward my father. And like I said, in my bloodline, I am not the only one that has experienced this. There are many people from many, many bloodlines that have experienced this, male and female. So I know I'm not alone in this. And they're still experiencing it now, like I am. And that's part of the point of what I want to go into, because when people say, once again, that you come from a family, you were born to a family. No. The root of it all started from the streets. Like I basically explained, you know, coming in on this live, giving you the rundown of what I'm really trying to say. And you know, and see, a lot of our youth today, when they say my family is in the streets, I ain't got no family. My family is in the streets. In a way, they may be right.
And in ways they may not be right. But whether they even realize it or not, the roots of what you call a family tree starts from the streets. Just like, how did my grandparents meet? Whether it was on my mother's side or my father's side. Now, black folks back during my grandparents' era, when they were younger, like that, mostly they probably met in places like churches or cabaret dance halls and stuff, because that's what people did back in the 1930s and 40s. You know, when they would congregate, and you'll find people, you know, becoming girl boyfriends and would start courting each other from there. You know, because back then those times were different, but still they met on the streets. Okay, they met on the streets. Just like my mother and father didn't know each other before they met each other. My grandparents didn't know each other before they met each other, and ended up having my mother and father, including other children that they had. Okay, so it still originated from the streets. So when you feel like you no longer have ties with a biological bloodline because of whatever unnecessary or unfortunate circumstances that have may taken place, I thought about it yesterday and I said, well, you know, after all, like the younger folks under me say, I'm from the streets anyway. So what do it matter if I don't have a sense of family connection to my relatives? What do it matter? Because it all started in the streets anyway. And more likely, in a lot of cases, that's where it's going to probably end at, you know? Because I've known situations where I've heard people in the past, down through the line, say that, well, both of my parents' side don't get along. Both of their sides hate each other. But they caught up in the middle of it. You see what I'm saying? That type of situation. I've heard married couples actually involving both sides of their relatives in their domestic disputes to the point where it end up being violent shootouts and stuff like that. And ain't no telling if these people got children between each other. You see what I'm saying? So this is the type of stuff that we're actually dealing with in society, and we've been dealing with this for years. You know, we've had a lot of questions about family, this, relatives, that. We've even spent, who knows, millions, thousands up to millions of dollars trying to get a therapist to help us figure it out. No, it's all simply based on the root of where it all started from. And when you go there, then you can draw a line with writing out a blank check or going into your bank account, giving money to a therapist of some kind to try to help you understand why you're going through these circumstances. All you got to do is look at the beginning or where the root of the whole situation began. And, you know, And see, what's so crazy about this is, what is so crazy about this, especially in the little small towns in the South, where everybody who may be related to each other is actually, uh, married, either married to each other or actually got kids with each other. I'm talking about cousins, biological cousins, even sometimes biological siblings having kids with each other. How about that? You know, I recently heard too. Now, I don't know how true it is because I haven't fact checked it. As some of you on social media would say, fact check. I haven't fact checked it, but it's been alleged that Jermaine Jackson, one of the surviving brothers of Michael Jackson, and also of Tito Jackson, who just passed, may he also rest in peace, actually had a baby by the mother of one of Tito's children. I'm talking about the Jackson family, the world-renowned Jackson family, who were musicians, and who also had a great legendary musician come out of that family by the name of Michael Jackson. So this doesn't just transcend through bloodlines that are not prominently known throughout society or the world, but this even transmit through even prominent known, families, as you want to call them, like my cousin was telling me some years ago, that before she passed away in 2022, years before that, she was telling me that in this little small town down in Tennessee where she lived, everybody was related to each other because you had cousins, who was in bed with each other, laid up in bed with each other, having children and stuff like that. And so that could cause a very dysfunctional situation. And see, here's the thing with that. You already know this person because you know him as a relative, or you know her as a relative. Or you may have not knew her or him as a relative, you see. But at the same time, most of the time, children come about in this world is because relatives met on the streets, and we all somehow, some kind of way came from the streets, whether we want to accept it or not, or whether we want to admit it or not. We all came from the streets into existence, you know. People want to make it seem like that the people that you're related to by blood is the only people you could depend on or trust. Because I was misled for a long time to believe that. That's not true. As a matter of fact, I've had two contrasting experiences that clearly woke me up to that reality that that's not true. Okay? And to this very day, I know it's relatives that if I needed something, don't even look their way before even asking. Don't even attempt to go up to their doorsteps. But I know people or have known people that I never met a day in my life and ended up like they was giving me the last back shirt off their back, you know? Even through my earlier years of traveling as a younger man, people let me stay in their houses, in their basement. I wasn't nothing but a complete stranger. People would let me in their homes, didn't know me. At nighttime, just to use their telephone. You know what I'm saying? People would let me stay. People would give me a whole room to myself in their house. Didn't know me. From Adam's apple to apple. Didn't know me from sun to moon. But would give me a room all to myself in their own house. Give me money, food, all that. A lot of relatives, I wouldn't even anticipate a thought like that in my mind of actually, asking them anything like that as far as help go, you know? And you might get your feelings hurt, even if you do approach them like that in some cases, you know? So that showed me from that experience that, you know what I'm saying, it's not necessarily true, nor does the meaning of family defines only detachment to blood relatives, you see. So I really, like I said, I really wanted to get that go into that because, I've come to find out in my experiences in life that, your actual tear downs or life destructive or altering situations do start right within what those of you call the family that happen to be amongst your blood relatives. I could go into quite a few things that happened to me as a child and even as an adult when it came to dealing with blood relatives. Like and I knew my mother's side somehow always had a thing for not accepting me as being a part of that side of the unquote so-called family. You see what I'm saying? But they real colors even showed more after my biological mother passed away. Especially when it came, I'm gonna just put it this way, you know how it is when people die and people want to start acting crazy. Now I'll let y'all figure the rest of that out. Because what's understood sometimes simply don't need to be explained. But when it came down to that, you see what I'm saying? That really showed me how much so-called family really cared about me. Like I said, I already had known to a certain point that they didn't, but that really, opened up more of a can of worms to remind me of that. So I remember years ago, my father, who's still around, as I said before, in his 70s, And he was telling me years ago, even when I was a younger adult in my early 20s, he would tell me that family is something I don't need to worry about. I don't even need to be thinking about family. And at that time, when he basically told me that, I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, it stayed in the back of my mind. Like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? And today, I could see what he was talking about. My mother told me a similar thing, even after I got grown. She would kind of still talk to me as if I was that same little boy she was raising. She would say, when mommy gone, you'll see what I'm talking about. You know? And I seen what she was talking about. See, sometimes parents don't go too much into detail because I guess they don't want a child to have so many things on their mind to the point where they'll be ready to ask a lot of questions. You see? So that's why I guess they kept a lot of stuff hidden in and allowed me to go on in life to figure it out for myself, you know. But I figured it out, you know, and I tell you, I kind of feel free today from that. Now that I figured out that situation. So when I when I look back even up to this point and I see how it's overall affected my life, you know, even to the point of how it affects or how I deal with other people because of my own unfortunate experiences with blood relatives, you know, I say, okay, you know what? First of all, I had to learn how to survive starting at 8 years old on the streets, growing up in between two big cities like Detroit and New York, okay? So I had to learn how to survive even before I got into my teens. When I had to scrape and scuffle just to get something to keep food in my belly because of the lifestyle of my parents that was affecting the household situation. And I realized that, you know, although those that I started out dealing with in the streets, far as associates and all that kind of stuff, I knew they wasn't my real friends or whatever, nor were they family, nothing close to that. And see, this is where these gang members get deceived at. When they feel like those that are involved in the same street gang as they are their family. But at the same time, you can find people on the streets who somehow will become your true family, will become your true friend, you know? Something, you know what I'm saying? Something that, you know, something that don't even exist among a lot of people's family bloodline when it comes to so-called family. But at the same time, this helps me more to understand why these street gangs, what do they call themselves, the Black Gangster Disciples, the Vice Lords, the Crips and Bloods, or whatever other gang they claiming, and all this kind of stuff, you know, I understand why they feel like they have a belonging sense of being a part of a family when it comes to that type of negative situation that they somehow got themselves into or involved with. But I understand. I don't condone it, but I understand. And see, it's a difference between condoning something and literally just understanding something. So I understand why they feel like they belong to, they have some type of sense of belonging when it comes to dealing with that type of situation, because they never knew what real true family was. And in many homes, it didn't start out that way, you see. And even it ain't that just gang bangers. You'll find this among even other common street criminals, you know, who just had associates in the streets, you know. They felt a sense of family, hood on them streets because they didn't get it from the home. And this is just not, you know, relegated or restricted to our plight as, you know, dark-skinned descendants of slaves born in America. This is even restricted to this is even applied to other ethnic groups, may I say, you know, whether it's Caucasians, whether it's Asians, Hispanics, and the list go on, you know. So this crosses all different demographics lines when it comes to stuff like that, you know. But because we're so affected by this, and I'm talking about those of us who are descendants that come from slaves born in this nation, you know, that's what I'm basically and specifically talking about, and whom I'm referring this topic as well to. You know, because a lot of us come from these type of background circumstances, you know, where we have siblings that die off, like myself, that we never got along with because of circumstances, especially that started out with us not having control of, you see. And so, you know, this is why you got a lot of domestic violence. You know, you will be surprised how much violent behavior take place amongst what a lot of you, what some of you would call families, you know. And even though I say relatives, because that's merely what a lot of times in that case it is, it's just relatives. Because like I just got done doing was defining the difference between a relative and a family member, you see. But at the same time, I must say that, you know, hey, the reality of the situation is that, you know, we're dealing with a situation right now, you know, we're actually dealing with a situation, you know, you know what I'm saying? We're dealing with a situation that we need to, you know, be very aware of, you know, when it comes to dealing with each other and even our own individual selves, when it comes to the factors of reality check and all that, you know, because this is what we're dealing with. Yeah, and you know, this has a lot to do too with the after effects of the enslavement of us as a group in this country. But at the same time, we can't keep on using slavery as a crutch either to justify this type of injustices that be going on amongst us as a group of people in this country. You know, and I could say that many times until I get blue in the face, because a lot of you is going to, you know, leave your ears and eyes closed to this. But there are some of you, few amongst many, that fears that this message will fall on, that would take this for what it is, and maybe even in your own personal lives, try to rectify certain situations. Or just move on with your lives. Go somewhere else, even if you got to change geographical locations. You see? And go and find your own families, create your own families. You got millions of people that do that every day around this country and world. You know? So, I mean, it was just like my grandfather, who I never knew, well as I didn't know my grandfather on my mother's side, you know, actually divorced my grandmother on my father's side because of domestic abuse situations. He went over to another state on the East Coast and ended up getting married to someone else, and then ended up getting killed in a domestic dispute in that relationship. You see? But people go off and start families of their own every day. You know, I may have distant relatives through that connection that I know nothing about because of that. And see, all this derives once again from, you know, couples meeting each other on the streets. You know, opposite sex couples meeting each other on the streets. That's where all this starts from. And a lot of these couples that meet each other on the street, whether they say it's on first sight or whatever, don't even have that real true love in their heart for each other. They just want to hop in that bed and do whatever they do. You see what I'm saying? You know, let's keep it real. And this been going on, of course, for generations and generations, ever since, you know, I guess mankind never stepped foot on Earth, you know? But here's the thing, though. We must realize, whether we want to accept the truth of it or not, you know, I don't care how many videos we look at on YouTube about family, this, family, that. People could tell you a lot of stuff. You got people paid like therapists, psychiatrists, who try to define the meaning of what family is. They'll just throw anything out there. They don't care. Long as they getting paid. to say what they got to say. That's all that matters to know. But the truth of the matter is that since you want to look at relatives all the time as family without asking questions and without further investigating and inquiring about certain stuff and situations, I'm going to say this. Your family started in the streets. It didn't start at home or in the bed. It started in the streets. Then it led to that into that direction. But it started on the streets. I've met plenty or different type of women throughout my life, whether it was in the clubs, whether it was, you know what I'm saying, on the streets, shopping malls, wherever it might have been, you know what I'm saying? Now, if I would have decided to take one of them home with me some kind of way or whatever, that'd have been from the streets. It's like I didn't know her, she didn't know me. And then all of a sudden now, you get other people involved talking about, oh, okay, you just started you a family. Yeah, you may have started you a family, if that's the case, but it started from the streets. You see, it started from the streets. And this is where we got this, a lot of us got to get out of that mindset, you know, about relatives being family once again, as I point out. Because I've known or heard actually of relatives. It's like, let me throw a couple examples out there. Let me throw a couple examples out there, man. You know, it was I've actually heard of people actually paying off other people to murder their fathers, their siblings, or their wives, who they had children by, over insurance money, people that wasn't even related to the family whatsoever in any kind of way, especially through blood connection. And you would just get some random outsider that you found somewhere on the street and had them kill them over some insurance money. And we hear about this all the time, right? So that person that you're about to have killed by an outsider ain't really no family member because they don't got that real true love for you. You see what I'm saying? Like this one, I remember hearing this story because, you know, I'm an avid boxing fan. I follow the sport of boxing. I followed it a long time since I've been a young teenager. You know, and you know, I remember watching a documentary about this former heavyweight boxer who was actually a champion. Matter of fact, his name was Trevor Berbick. And Mike Tyson ended up knocking him out at the age of 20 to become the first youngest ever to win the World Heavyweight Championship in the ring, where he had to go through this guy, Trevor Berbick, which he did to accomplish that. And this guy, Trevor Berbick, had been around as a seasoned pro and a Olympian, you know, who was from Jamaica, based out of Canada, as well as here in America, until he got deported back to Jamaica for some reason, which I forgot what it was for, but while he was down there, you know, and off in the sunset down in his homeland in Jamaica, you know, I guess retired at this point as a fighter and stuff. he had some issues over some property with one of his blood cousins, one of his actual blood cousin relatives. He ended up into a domestic dispute about some property. And so his blood relative had planned out his murder. And he had a friend of his to help him to carry out this murder, where this boxer, Trevor Burbick, ended up getting fatally stabbed with the help of this friend that was with him, who helped carry out this murder of this ex-boxer I'm talking about, you know? And that showed me, that experience there then opened up my eyes even more to how real devious people that you feel like you're so close to, like your relatives, could be the first ones to harm you in a devastating way that you would expect some common person on the streets to do, in a way that you would expect them to do, you know, on the streets. You know, and I hear people always talking this stuff about, well, you can't be too quick to trust people on the streets. Well, you could say that about relatives too. See? But when I say that, that's when people want to get quiet, because people really don't want to hear the truth, you know, about that. So people want to get quiet, and people want to start trying to take the conversation to somewhere else, or letting the conversation go all together because they don't want to hear the truth, especially if they're not right in the heart. When it comes to something like that being brought up, is which I'm speaking about in this topic. And there's several relatives I've had that I've tried to have that conversation with, and obviously it didn't resonate. They tried to go to another subject, or, oh man, I got to get off the phone, I got something to do, I'll get with you later. You know, no, it's because they don't want to hear the truth. Bottom line, you know, when people you're conversing with want to hear the truth about something, and when they don't, you know. So with that said, you know, I really got to the point that I actually started just saying to myself that, you know what, maybe it's no need in me even getting in that kind of conversation with them, because they would never understand. They would just have to figure it out on their own, as far as what I'm saying on that note. But I've seen situations. Just look at how parents do their own child. The same parents I said that met on the streets, they treat their child like somebody they met off the streets. I found myself in similar situations that I don't even care to even want to dwell in verbally about. Even though I still love my parents, dead or alive, but like somebody said, it is what it is. And we have to come to the reality sense of the situation that, man, we come from the streets. That's the bottom line to that. Now, I know when I decided to hook up with Brother Angel Snup 7, to have this live, he decided he would let me go solo. But I am right now, because I don't want to get tongue-tied, so I am giving him the open invitation, if he wishes to expand on this. And I'm going to, for a moment or few, let him have the mic, especially because I'm on his platform. So, brother, Taalik, would you like to shed anything on that you may know about?
All right. Well, it turned out to be a pretty good topic. I want to thank you for coming and bringing that topic to us.
Yes, sir.
Tonight. I want to say before we go any further, usually we simulcast on Facebook, but I want to let everybody know that Facebook flagged my Facebook again, saying that I'm associated with dangerous individuals. You know, the bull crap again. Same thing. These social media platforms do not want me to talk. And I keep saying over and over again, and I'm going to keep saying it and asking the question, why do these people bother somebody that only get 10 views and 10 subscribers? Why they keep bothering? Now it's Facebook flagging me for being associated with dangerous individuals and organizations, but never say who the individual is, and don't say who the organization, these dangerous people that I'm supposed to be associated with. I'm praising them or whatever. And the flag, Minister Farrakhan and Savior's Day. Is the Nation of Islam is Louis Farrakhan the dangerous individual? Is the Nation of Islam the dangerous organization? But it lets you know. And every time, this always happens when my subscribers start rising. Always. Every time I get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, here come the flagging of the video. And they don't flag new videos. Facebook is not flagging new videos. They're going all the way back to 2017, 2013, stuff like that. I don't know, it might not tell you anything, but it definitely tells me something. And the only thing they do is sometimes I feel like, well, I don't need to speak no more. I just shut up or whatever. But when they do things like this, because I want to go out on my terms, I'm not going out on their terms. The only thing they do is give me the energy to keep rolling, to keep fighting. You're not going to run me off Facebook. You're not going to run me off YouTube. I just keep making channels and keep them up because people going to find me. If people didn't want to listen to Angel, I'd give it up. I would just give it up. But apparently they want to hear my voice, regardless to these suckers. So I just want to say, I don't know how long this is going to last, or they're just going to tear my Facebook down or whatever, but we're not simulcasting on Facebook. It probably would be a month or so before they let me live stream. Like I said, it's because the views start going up. I always tell you that the views on Facebook is higher than the views on YouTube. As soon as I said that, Facebook started flagging me. But anyway, I guess I give my 2 cents in on this here, on this topic. I took a few notes and just want to make these points here. Something that is very common in our community is we like to say brother and sister. When you think about brother and sister, you think about family. That's what this topic is about, is family and relatives, your uncles and this nature. This is what we're about. Biological relatives. Family, you find some people more like family than relative. We talk about family here. And stuff, and we've come from places where the Black conscious community, whatever, always call you brother and sister, brother. A few years ago, for many people, brother not seven. Brother and sister, family does gossip. Brother, you agree with an ideology or a belief. Once you don't agree with that ideology and belief, you're no longer a sister. Then you become something else. Then you're a Sam, all like that. And they call these things family. They call it, family. They call us family, brother and sister family. There was people here that called, I was like a father to them. And then they tore down my channel. This is the family. These are the people that we're dealing with. With family like this, you don't need this. You're only a brother, you're only a sister, as long as you bow down or something, they can benefit from you. Best time I ever in my life with family was when we was dirt poor. That was the best time I had with my family. Nobody didn't have nothing. But it's other things. This religion start coming up. Begin to destroy family. Destroy I don't know how many families. Because you don't believe in my God. Money destroys many because some members of other family members because they have more money than you, or a family member because they have money. I'm better than the rest of my family because I got money. They poor. Some family members, you separate because they do drugs. Things of this nature. So we use the family loosely. So they don't even mean nothing. And I really don't even like saying brother and sister no more, because we're not like that. We're parasites and users. If we kind of way of family, we wouldn't be in the condition that we're in because another family member suffering. Other brothers and sisters suffering. Mine, yours. That's living right now. I got mine. You get yours. We are really, many of these people are real quick to tell another brother or sister, you're broken. Mine. You get yours. See, you broke. How can you, brother? Can I help you, sister? I have a lot, but I got some ends. That's what family do. You don't even have to ask. When you brother and sister, whenever you see family, uncle's in trouble, auntie is in trouble, nephew's in trouble, you have to ask. But we're not. You got to ask. You're going to be back. Oh. That's the situation that we find ourselves right now. One of the things that hurt me really, really to my heart was the Nation of Islam, because I view them as, and then I had a relative that was in the Nation of Islam. So I know I feel strong. I have a family that adopted me, the Nation of Islam, plus I have family members of Islam. I didn't understand and didn't know that was a pipe dream. Only family, as long as I believe Honorable Elijah Muhammad, as long as I kiss Louis Farrakhan, as long as I agree with everything that's going on, I'm family. As soon as I begin to question, I don't believe it no more. I'm not family no more. Family don't claim. Some of us have children or trans children or whatever. Some child that we are embarrassed about, don't want nothing to do with. I don't claim them no more. And that's your blood. You believe somebody outside of you that you friends with in the Nation of Islam, or you some Pan-African, or that they are your new family. And those people will stab you in the back. They don't give a damn about you. Some of us, we learned the hard way. That's why we should have hundreds and hundreds of videos with people talking about how they were stabbed in the back by the Moorish Science Temple, by the Nation of Islam, these black or Pan-African garbage, whatever. They're not going to come out here and talk about it because they feel embarrassed. They feel embarrassed. That's why they won't talk about it. And they've given thousands of dollars. They've given a lot of work to family. When they can't use you no more, they kick your ass out the door. Because that's what it was all about to begin with. These people aren't your family. At least if they was your biological relatives, you might feel a little better. My uncle so-and-so did such and such. These people were strangers anyway. The only reason why you're a brother and sister because you believe in Elijah Muhammad, you believe in Marcus Garvey, you believe in whatever. They're not your family. As soon as that connection breaks, it's over. Family don't break regardless, because we're family. I'm family. I don't care if you're transgender. I don't care if you're Christian or Muslim. I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. We're family. But just like Taalib said, that's not our reality anymore. Family is a fallacy. It's very few people. I remember growing up, I used to see family. I don't see that no more. I remember when I was growing up, if you jump on one, you got to jump on all 10 or 12. Family. And they'll figure out whether you was right or wrong later. Don't jump on my brother. Don't jump on my sister. 12 people come out the house. Because you jumped on a family member. Whether they was right or wrong, we'll figure that out later. You don't jump on family. You don't see that no more. Unless, like Brother Taalib was said, unless maybe you're a gang member involved in crime. They don't play that. But we don't do that no more. After integration, because now it's I got my family no more. It has gone to hell after elders. The brothers and sisters probably and the patriarchs of the when they die off, especially the mothers, because the family together in union. That's fathers really they but they don't. They motivation, you know, keep my family together. It's always older. Grandmother that was the people die off. Younger folks, got mine, you got your. You don't even hear. I don't like that much, so, yeah. But I don't family reunions no more. It's not a thing. There's no family anymore. I got mine, you get. And fall out because you owe me $3 from 1957. And Islam, one of the things that hurt me, besides I began to stand and learn my family, my logical, when I went to stand in your city, to help me stay. So the family shelter, and you know, you can struggle from there. Now, these large relatives who know this, I was so my brothers in Islam don't tell me, oh, go to the homeless. Before I go home, sick, they wouldn't. Farrakhan got problem. He don't stay in the house. He don't stay room. Laid up in there. You ain't rent. There was no money in a long time. They're Farrakhan family, his grown ass, they could them rent because he divine. I you. That's these people, Farrakhan, they would help these divine, they would help all this stuff before their own flesh and blood. And then when you reach out to these organizations, when you get in real trouble, they ain't nowhere to be around. Regardless to whether or not I'm in the Nation of Islam or not. I gave my family, I gave 9 years helping Farrakhan. I'm supposed to be brother and sister in the struggle, regardless. Well, brother, you were incarcerated because you disobeyed Allah. Anything bad happened to me, these people clap. Family, brother, sisters, they clap. They happy because you got cancer. They happy because you got hit by a car. They happy you was incarcerated. They happy at something happened, bad happened to you. These are your brothers and sisters. They hate your guts because you don't believe in, not part of the garbage that they're part of. This so-called family. I found people, when I was driving trucks, I found a group of people that treated me more like family than my own biological family. And unfortunately, my incarceration destroyed that relationship because they didn't even know I was incarcerated. I just fell off the map. It would be years. It would be years before I was able to contact them and tell them what happened. But they treated me better and had more respect for me than my biological relative. So what is the solution? The solution, like we say here all the time, it's a different, you have to create a different environment. Because this current environment is destructive. This current environment that we live in does not feed the soul. This current environment is sickness. And clearly religion and spirituality and all these things we believe in, they don't work. Because the people teaching that, even their circle is sick. They are part of the problem instead of the solution. Family, it shouldn't make no difference. People are different. Also, skin color is still an issue in our community. You too black. You still, you run your mouth and talk all this black is beautiful stuff. You really don't like black like that. That's a show. Because what they say, actions is louder than words. You ain't producing dark together. You find yourself another lighter skinned person, and you keep producing lighter skinned children, not dark skinned, not black folks. So that's a lie. That's false. And who do you follow? Who's your leadership? It's always a lighter skinned person. It ain't nobody black. It ain't nobody melanated. You look at these people, where your melanin at? The main ones talking all this melanin stuff, light-skinned folks. Where your melanin at? And when they get angry, the real them, who knows how many times they have called me, they slip. Ooh, you black son of a. Then they have to make up an excuse. Well, I don't mean black. They have to try to explain. No, you don't like black like that. Because you're trying to insult me. And you're using the word Angel Snuff 7 as a black this and that as something derogatory. Something to humiliate, something to shame. You don't like black like that. Why don't you say angels is an angel? You're not going to do that. You're not going to, because you don't want to, you're trying to humiliate, degrade me. And that's the way that you're using black. But you saying that black is beautiful and the melanin, you're liars. They're liars. So what is the solution? A different way of thinking. We have a problem with trying new things. We loyal to old stuff. Except when it comes to women, y'all men. Well, I've been there. That's why you got to have all these women, because you get bored with that putty tat. You get bored. I need different putty tat. I need a different stuff. But when it comes to these religions and these ideologies, you loyal to the same old crap over and over for thousands of years. Hundreds of years. Go on Facebook, go on YouTube. Only thing they talking about, something that happened 30 years ago, something that happened 100 years ago, 5,000 years ago. The Nation of Islam, 666 trillion years ago. Always some old, outdated crap. Minds never open to new ideologies, new way of looking at life. The reason why a lot of animals, insects, and life on this planet, the reason why many of them are still here, because they change. Because the earth don't stay the same. The way the earth is now is not the way it was 666 trillion years ago, or 50,000 years ago, or 2 million years ago. You got to be able to change. Those animals unable to change, they go extinct. We don't know how many animals that have went extinct. We don't extinct because they change when the earth changed. We don't know. And you go extinct. It's just a time because you don't like change. See, fairy tale make no sense teachings, theology, date, archaic say this. We're gonna turn it back over to our host tonight, brother Taalib. The American proverb: it takes a village. It takes a village to raise a child. That's our problem. We're not a village, and we're not responsible for our children. We are putting the lives of our children into the hands of individuals, two people, mommy and daddy. And that system is not working. And that system is based on vanity. My blood. Nature don't give a damn about your blood. When you die, you're going to be forgotten. If another country, if Russia came into America right now, all that stuff, that's my blood. Yeah, your blood is going to be on the floor after a Russian soldier shoots you in the damn head. Yeah, that's the only blood. You're going to be forgotten. The same thing they did to the Native Americans. They had their families. Oh, this is my blood. This is my son. This is my daughter. This is my family. When the Europeans came here, they don't give a damn about that. Who knows how many burial grounds? You could be living on an Indian burial ground right now. These people came in here, tore all this stuff up. They didn't give a damn about the bears. They didn't give a damn about the crocodile. They didn't give a damn about the Indians. This is mine now. Tear all that up. So what happens to your blood? I'm doing this for my blood. Nature don't give a damn about your blood, individual blood. And then most of y'all, you have not even produced your own legacy. Your legacy really is the white man's legacy. You still carry the white man's name or the Arab's name or some other man's name. You did not think. So that's not your legacy. That's not your blood. All thing you do is carrying the legacy and the history of another man. So it's not yours anyway. Because technically, you're still in a slave position. You are physically free. Oh, actually, you only have privileges. You're not free. You only have privileges in jail. Because as soon as you get out of line, the people that run the prison will correct you real quick. So in Africa, there's a proverb. It takes a village to raise a child. In some animal species, birds and some mammals, all the babies are raised by the whole family. In some species of animals, you don't know who the parents are. The babies will never know who mama is, will never know who father is. The whole group raised the babies because that's my family. So no male can say, well, I can't do this for this from here because that's not my son. All of these are my son. All of these are my daughters. But in our system, how we roll right now, Taalib is not my biological son, so I can't treat him like my biological son. That's how we're treated right now. So Taalib would be homeless, a young man wandering the United States with no father, without no mother, because the village is not a village. The village is not a family. You got a young man, a young boy. We sit here and let this young man roam the streets. But see, if we was family, none of our children should be on the street. None of our babies should be victims of sex trafficking. None of our babies should be in foster care. None of our babies should be in an orphanage. Because that's family. But, that's not my biological family. I've seen in animal species, if a female is killed or a male is killed or whatever, the mothers adopt that baby. the family will adopt that baby. They don't have to worry about going out there, because in the wild, that's a death sentence. If a baby don't have parents, that's a death sentence. And that's what we do. Our children, it's a death sentence. Then we just shake our head. Oh, that's sad what happened to Taalib out there in the streets. That's so sad or whatever. Because he's not part of a family. The child is not part of a family. But see, if we just raise our children like a village, nobody gives a damn who the mama is, who the dad is. We take care of our children. And when you take care of your children, our children will take care of us. There won't be no need for no nursing homes for us. And that's the sad thing about it. I just buried a friend of mine, and her children, in her mind, oh, when I get older, my children gonna take care of me because I took care of my children. Her children wanted to put her in a nursing home. And she died before that could even happen. And she was so sad because in our minds, I have these children. When I get old, they're gonna take care of me. Very few of these children are gonna do that. You're gonna end up in a nursing home. Nursing homes is $1 billion industry. So that's telling you a lot of people putting their parents in nursing homes. They don't have nursing homes in a lot of part of Africa because they believe to take care of their family. There are no nursing homes. We don't think like that. You messing up my groove. You in my way. I don't want to mess with no sick person. But our parents was there, many of them, they was there to wipe your nasty butt. They fed you, they clothed you, many good parents. So clearly, how we're living right now is not working. If we adopted our children, there would be no gang members. There would be no drug addicts. If we take care of our children, that we wouldn't give them opportunity to be exposed to street life. Because that's my boy. That's my child. But we just like Brother Taalib said here, and I noticed that this subject is very important and something that's close to his heart, something that he wanted. All of us should want that, but it's not our reality because we're sick. But what do you expect? We live in a sick society. We are in a sick situation, and we've been in it for so long. It's normal. It's normal. That's the sad thing about it. I want to turn, let me see if I can see if I got some comments. Anyway, I can't really see those comments. I'm going to turn the mic to Brother Taalib.
All righty. Yes, and I would like to piggyback off a couple things we heard our brother Taalik speak about. See, when people say that ain't my mama, that ain't my daddy, that ain't my brother, that ain't my sister, that ain't my cousin, a lot of them, when they saying that, they actually lying to themselves because they actually don't care about their own biological relatives in a lot of cases either. Well, as they don't care about those that are not kin to them. See, and you know what? What I know now, if a person was to say something to me about, oh man, that ain't my kin, he ain't kin to me, she ain't kin to me, Just like many people thought about going back to when George Floyd or Michael Brown got killed by the racist cop, or Ezel Ford got killed by a racist cop, or Ed Gardner got killed by a racist cop, or you know what I'm saying, or Breonna Taylor got killed by some racist Caucasian police while she was in her own apartment minding her business. You see what I'm saying? You know, I bet you, and see, I don't gamble. I'm not the type of person that gamble, but I will be willing to actually bet that it was a lot of some of us who said she ain't kin to me, he ain't kin to me.
Yeah.
Oh, really? See, this is why when stuff happens to us in this country, we don't get outraged like we used to. Like we used to see our parents and grandparents get outraged over in the 50s and 60s. Like when Emmett Till got lynched in the 50s, he had a big funeral. It was probably bigger than Martin Luther King's funeral. It was a lot of people at his funeral. You know, this young man, all he doing was left Chicago and went to visit some family in Mississippi. Now he dead. I mean, his mother left the casket open for everybody as well as the whole world to see.
Yes.
This man's whole face is mutilated. I mean, entirely mutilated. If that happened today in 2024, you wouldn't have that type of outrage from black people in this country. Because like I said, he ain't kin to me, she ain't kin to me.
Right.
But at the same time, you don't even give a damn about those that are kin to you.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? So let's cut that out. Let's stop with that shenanigan right off the top. You know, for real. And then on top of that, if you do care about a relative, you only care about that relative because they serve a benefit purpose to you. Either they got something you want and you getting something out of it as far as a benefit is concerned. And more than likely it's something with selfish intent. You see what I'm saying? Because I know the relatives I dealt with, that's what sort of the situation was. You know? Like you say, you would expect this to come from common folk on the streets, as they say, but this is coming from people that you're related to by blood. So it's like really the whole situation with this is, see, even though you know, I don't agree with a lot of things, you know, when it comes to other certain type of people, right? And I'm not saying this because I'm a racist or I'm a hater. And then, hey, I'm just a descendant of an ex-slave. I ain't in no position to be racist or prejudiced any way. Okay, I'm gonna make that perfectly clear. But one thing about it is this: is that when I see these immigrants, okay, and we may disagree with them on a lot of things, but when you look at the countries they come from, I'm just going to talk about the countries of their origin. I ain't going to talk about them and what their position is in this country. I'm going to talk about the positions of the country of their origin. Like you just heard the brother say, they're not known for sending their people to nursing homes when they get old of age. You know, they take care of their fathers, mothers, grandmothers, grandfathers. They not finna sit there and let them die off in no nursing home. I mean, I'm talking about countries, poor, ravished, war-torn countries like Vietnam, Philippines, Cambodia, or countries like the brother mentioned over in Africa. They not finna sit back and watch they relatives go out like that. I know in places in Southeast Asia right now, them little islands, which you normally don't hear about. That's not as popular as some places in South Asia is, like Thailand, Vietnam, places that you've heard of. But they got islands in that regional part of the world where people actually raise their children like a village. Everybody work together. Don't nobody lay down. Everybody got to get up and work if you want to eat. They might not do it the way we do it in America, but in the traditional or indigenous way that they do it, everybody work together as a family. And just piggybacking off what he said, even in that case, they might not even know who their real biological mothers or fathers is because of that situation. And you know what? I'm not saying that any child in this planet should be denied to know who their parents is as far as who they came from. But at the same time, in a lot of cases, because of the situation that we're moderately living in a country like this, maybe sometimes that's good. You know, because we know chemistry wise, a lot of parents don't get along with their children, like a lot of children don't get along with their parents. Chemistry wise, I'm talking about chemistry. Your chemistry makeup has a lot to do with your relationship with your child, with your relationship with your parent. And this ain't coming from some religious standpoint. This is coming from a scientific fact. When it comes to humans dealing with each other, when it comes to the nature of humans dealing with each other, a lot of times we come in this world not even wanting to have nothing to do with our parents. Our parents might even raise us, treat us well, buy us the best of things, take care of us until we get 18, do all they could do that in modern society a parent is supposed to do for a child, and that child still end up hating that parent.
Yeah.
I remember these two young brothers down in Georgia, still grown, staying in their parents' house, collaborated together to try to murder them. Fortunately, they didn't do it. They didn't succeed, but they actually tried to murder their parents. I mean, they raised them, so, you know. I even think they sent them to college. Worked hard to send them to college. I mean, they actually raised these boys, you know. I'm not too sure on the college name, but they did everything they could. Raised them in a well-off middle class neighborhood. Tried to make sure that they wasn't raised in a area where there's a lot of violence and crime going on there. You know what I'm saying? They did what was considered in this society is what a typical parent should do for a child. I just put it that way. Okay, but they tried to murder these parents. So, you know, a lot of times when people say your child hates you because of your negative ways, or because of how you did they mama, or because of how she did your father, that's not always true. That is not always true. I've heard several stories. Look at the Menendez brothers. They trying to get their conviction overturned from over 30-something years ago. These two young Hispanic kids, they was known as the Menendez brothers, where they came from a rich family where they actually plotted together to murder millionaire parents for over an insurance policy and actually killed them. You see what I'm saying? You know, now they back in court trying to get out of prison, you know. But here's the thing. These parents did all they could for them. Raised them in a wealthy environment. Did more 2 times for them than what the average parent could typically be able to do for a child in this type of society. And they still, you know, conspired together to kill them parents. So, you know, the type of situation we're going through, you know what I'm saying? As you know, when it comes to so-called family, in this type of society, people really got it wrong. You know, you got to depend on your family. Family is important. You know, I used to try to tell some of these foreign immigrants years ago that ain't always true. But see, from their perspective, because of the different nations they come from, they got a different understanding about that. But when they start realizing, long as they stay in America and start realizing the reality, or when it comes to that thing called family, then some of them wake up. Because I've actually had some immigrants or people from other countries tell me how their families or rather relatives messed over them. And more than likely it's after they got to America. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So yeah, you know, it's like you know, this thing called family don't mean nothing. You know, now if I was a multi-millionaire or like one of them Jay-Z or Sean P. Diddy Combs type individuals, or LeBron type cats or something like that, you know, I'll probably be worshipped like a god among my relatives.
No doubt.
I don't care if I was a homosexual or LGBTQ, one with that kind of money, you see what I'm saying? They'll still worship me like gods. But let me be all that without that kind of money. Like the brother was pointing out early, and see what type of reception one get from their own relatives. Oh, we can't claim him. Oh, he a homosexual. Oh, she a lesbian. Oh, they homeless. Oh, they drug addicts. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, they done been to jail and prison. They you know, they institutionalized. We can't claim them. Or we can't you know what I'm saying? Or they crazy. They got something wrong with them. We can't claim them. You know what I'm saying? Or they you know, they got enemies. You know, that's after them. We can't claim them because that might get us off or killed or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like you say, where's the time at where families stuck together? Whether a person was right or wrong. You see? We're not living in that time no more. If you go to some people on the streets, like somebody was pointing out, especially if it's a game, if you go to them and let them know you got a problem with some rival enemy somewhere, they ain't gonna ask no question. Where they at? Let's go.
Yeah.
They not gonna ask no questions. They'll worry about the consequences when they cross that bridge. But let's go. You know. Oh, you ain't know, but relatives. The first thing they might say, well, what did you do? Wait a minute, hold up. Brother, hold up. They don't even ask you what happened. At least they done got to the point now. Well, what part did you play in it? What did you do? Oh, really? So I just got robbed for $5,000 by some cats on the street that I don't even know, don't even associate with. I'm just a complete victim. And I want you to help me find these suckers so, you know, I could get, we could rectify this situation. You see what I'm saying? No, I ain't getting in that, man. You on your own. I got family to take care of. You know what I'm saying? Like this one, you know, I ain't gonna mention I ain't gonna give out their identity, you know, because of anonymity purposes. So I'm gonna respect their anonymity, but I'm gonna tell it just like it is. I got some relatives down in Georgia. Relatives. Remember, relatives. I didn't say family. I said relatives, right? Now I got one on my mother's side, but he from a generation 20-some years younger than me. He's a first relative cousin, so-called cousin anyway. And a couple of years ago, we were having a conversation and he threatened me over the phone, sending me text messages of what he'd do to me or had done to me, right? And all this kind of stuff. So anyway, I got in contact with some relatives who stays in a little small town right north of Atlanta, right? And these relatives was on opposite sides. He was on he's from my mother's side. They are from my father's distant side, right? So anyway, I call them, right? Because they right there. And I say, well, you know, I got so-and-so talking crazy about what he gonna do to me. And I'm like, I come down there, you know, even to visit y'all. And I decide I might want to go to Atlanta or something, you know. Are y'all gonna, you know, I'm reading them. I ain't asking them because I know how folks is, right? So I'm reading them out. I'm filling them out to see how they gonna respond. And you know, the first thing they're gonna tell me, oh man, we can't get involved in that. We got kids and stuff and family we got to take care of. We can't be getting caught up in that and getting involved in that and woo. And all this, just leave them alone, you know. And we wait a minute. This nigga just basically threatened my life. You know what I'm saying? But you gonna sit up and tell me that, you know, and see, I've talked to these people, so I know what they think about family. You know, I do know the negative tones they have about family, but family ain't family like they used to be, which I agree. That one point I agree with them about. But they definitely ain't acting like family, you know? And this one of them, these a couple of them I had to recently cut off. I had to even delete their Facebook pages, you know? Just because, you know? Plus, I really didn't know them anyway like that. I met them over the phone through a first cousin of mine that I hadn't seen since I was a kid. You know, since our grandmother died. You know what I'm saying? But make the long story short, you know, when I got that type of response there, and then you had this other fake so-called cousin of mine, right? Now, this Negro, and he done me something wrong too. This Negro, you understand, and whether I played a part in it or not, the way I did, he had no business doing what he did. But here's the thing. Because I stopped paying him rent, he decided to have somebody else rent the spot that I was renting, right? while I was staying in his basement, right? Before he had to get a house up in foreclosure anyway, during the time of the 2008 housing crisis, right? He was one of the ones caught up in that, right? So anyway, now, prior to that, a couple years before that, he had some random cat off the street, I guess that he met through his brother or something, right? And this dude was actually smoking crack himself while he was living there, right? And so that month, I happened to be staying there during that short period of time before I had ended up moving back over there, right? Due some circumstances. But anyway, this guy was actually smoking crack and didn't pay his rent on time. So this same so-called cousin gonna come ask me my opinion about what should he do about this. Well, and I'm like, dude, he ain't pay you your rent. You know what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? You know what he did? He talked to the guy and decided he was going to give him a chance and let him stay there longer. But soon as I stopped paying, and I think he said that wasn't the only time he been through that with him. Okay. I don't know. I don't remember. I don't remember all that, but I do know that one time he let him slide. This dude wasn't no type of kin relative. You see what I'm saying? And he just let him just slide. You know, he gave him a pass, as they would say on the streets. He gave him a pass. You see what I'm saying? But he didn't give me a pass, and I'm supposed to be his flesh and blood kinfolk. You see what I'm saying? And plus, come think about it, he was charging me more rent than he was charging him for staying there. Now make that make sense. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, it was like, man, it was really crazy, man. You know, and I'm like, you know, and this is the same guy I'm talking about that I've been trying to get back to. Because, you know, I'm the type of person I try to forgive, you know, to a certain point. You know, I know that's not for everybody. And there's certain things that I still won't forgive, okay? Because like even in the Bible say, it's a time to forgive and it's a time not to forgive. It's a season and time for everything, you know? But I'm not, you know, basing this on, you know, what I'm just saying is this, is that I'm a forgiving type of individual when it comes to certain things, okay? That's just the kind of heart I got. Even if it comes to certain people that are relatives that have done me wrong. You see what I'm saying? And so he playing games instead of being a man telling me he don't want to be bothered, don't call his phone, period. You know, I would respect him more if he came at me like that. Because I ain't got time. I even told him, I'm not going to go through them emotional tantrums like before, blocking your number and all that. I just won't deal with you if you don't want to deal with me. So I just left it at that. You know what I'm saying? But actually, I should be somewhere like I was in the past, you know, going through some consequences for busting him in his head because of something he did. I should be somewhere right now where we wouldn't even be having this conversation. You see what I'm saying? You know, that is that type of situation, you know. But see, here it is. You dealing with people, man, that is fake, you know. And when people start realizing and learning that, and like I remember him saying in his own words, family will bring you down before anybody will. Your so-called family will bring you down. And that's true. Because don't nobody from the streets know you like your so-called family do. Well, they think they know you, and a lot of times they really don't know you. But since you've been around them all your life, or they figure they could just say or do anything to you or whatever, and da-di-da, and you won't respond in a unusual way or stuff like that. You see what I'm saying? It's all gravy to them. But see, this is how a lot of domestic violence situations pop off. You know, I've heard the children actually killing off whole families in the household. This one day, I guess they had enough of whatever the case was. I don't know the whole situation, and just shot the whole family up. You see what I'm saying? Or when they murdered their mama, their father, their cousins, their sisters, their brothers, all that. See? But because of this, the type of society we live in, you know, like someone was saying, this produces this type of circumstances. You know? This actually produces this kind of circumstances. Because you're first of all, you playing mind games with people. And number one, you playing with people's feelings. Okay? And whatever you feel or think about them is one's prerogative. Okay? But if you feel like you don't really like them or care for them like that, why just do the simple thing, walk away, leave them alone? But unfortunately, a lot of folks ain't got, you know, the courage to do that or the sense enough to do that. You see what I'm saying? So they'd rather push a person's button to the point to see how far they could go. And a lot of times it'll end up backfiring. I'm pretty sure that most of you who are listening to this live stream could attest to that some way or another. You know? And it's like, man, you know, the way it's coming down to now, where you know, hey, you know, even your parents, you know, who say they don't claim somebody because they ain't their biological son or child, like I heard the brother speaking on, you know, it's like a lot of times they don't care nothing about that biological son or daughter they got. And what they do is, instead of manning up and being responsible, even if they got to pay child support to help take care of that child they help broaden the world, they'll go help somebody else take care of their child that ain't even theirs. You know? And see, that part I don't agree with. How is you gonna help somebody that you in another relationship with take care of a child that ain't even yours? You need to be leaving that responsibility in the hands of the other father who actually supposed to be fathering them children. But you will abandon your own biological seed and do everything in the world to take care of somebody else's children. And then when that backfire in your face, because the father of that child don't like the ideal that you all in their children's life like that, now it's a big conflict of interest. Now somebody got to get hurt or even possibly die. You see what I'm saying? And all this craziness going on, you see? So my thing with that is, man, is that, you know, this is the reason why I say that if you truly gonna raise a child like a village would, or as you say, as it takes a village to do, then it need to not only include other people's children, but it need to include your own children as well. If you have any children of your own, you see. And I mean, man, it's just crazy, you know. And the thing about it is that we don't even, you know, think about the fact that we taking care of children that we actually think is our biological children and aren't really our children. You know how many brothers right now is paying child support at the order of a court for children that ain't even theirs? And if they stop them child payments, they end up getting locked up. Like I heard about a brother in my hometown. He was paying child support for years that this woman claimed was his child too. And to come to find out, finally he had got a blood test done. He found out that wasn't his child. And so he refuses, you know, continue on paying that child support money. And they locked him up for 2 years in prison. But of course, he made his way back to court on appeal. And, you know, due to circumstances and technicalities, they got that overturned. And he didn't have to worry about that no more. But the fact that he had to go to prison over it, period, shouldn't have never happened. And see, this has happened in cases that we haven't even seen in the news, more than likely. You know, where you will find people, once they found out that wasn't their child, you know, they stopped them child payments, and the folks wasn't trying to hear that, even if they proved to them that they wasn't the actual biological father of that child. They still, you know, said, well, we got to go on and lock you up. You know, that type of situation. And then they got to figure all this out in some prison law library just to try to fight their way up out of incarceration over something rightfully that they shouldn't even be incarcerated for in the first place. You see what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's really crazy, you know, when you actually think about the whole circumstances of the situation, you know, and what's going on when it comes to this family thing. It's not real, not in the society that we live in. It's just not real, you know. And like I heard another brother just say on this live, you know, that a lot of times when men lay up with these women, they go from woman to woman anyway, even after they done had children with this particular woman. If they've had children with this particular woman, they go from woman to woman, you know, and stuff like that. So that's not being family. See, in order to establish the principles of a family, first the love, it got to come from the love in the heart. And if you ain't got that love in the heart, that unconditional love in the heart for someone, especially that you helped brought in the world, then that's not a family member. That's just a relative. As a matter of fact, even though y'all may be connected by bloodline, but that's really somebody from the streets at that point. Because I've heard a lot of people say, I don't even know my father. Even if I seen my father or mother, I don't know them. If I seen them on the streets, I wouldn't know them. Have you ever had those of you listening right now? throughout the social media sphere audience, would y'all actually, I know y'all have actually probably heard that many times coming from people's own words, that they don't even know some of their parents. Some of them don't even know their parents, and said that they wouldn't even know them if they seen them on the streets, you know? And stuff in reality happens like this. You might bump into somebody that actually might be your parent. You might realize he kind of older than you, and y'all might even end up getting into a fight or a conflict about something unrelated. To be knowing that that's your father you are actually finna get into a physical confrontation with, or that's actually your son you're finna get into a physical confrontation with, because your son don't know you. That's reality in the world that we're living in, especially in the society that we're living in. See, I could throw all kind of examples out there, which is straight up real. You know, but you know, hey, like I say, the solution to this situation is that we have to start coming together as a village, since that's what we want to claim to be, you know, and take it from there. You see what I'm saying? If we truly really want to actually, you know, become a village and then end up becoming a nation, or like you say, you want your own independent nation, we're gonna have to start, you know, unifying as a village. But of course, in the circumstances that we find ourselves in, especially as you know, dark-skinned descendants of slaves born in this nation, where likely we're not going to see that in this generation. It may have to take our grandchildren or their children to come after them to actually see that reality, but we have to plant those seeds. You know, it's just like those colonists who came over here from Britain had to plant those seeds in order for America to become an independent country from Britain. And a lot of them didn't live to see that, let alone did they live to see even the more productive times that came from their struggle to make that a reality. They didn't even live to see July the 4th, 1776. Nowhere close to it. They even died maybe one or a couple of 100 years before they could see that. But they started somewhere to plant a seed. Now, how they did it, of course, most of us, including myself, may not agree with it, but they had to start from somewhere by planting them seeds. And that's the same thing we got to do. Not in the exact way that our oppressors did it, but we have to do it in a way that's going to be harmonious and coexisting for everybody involved. You see what I'm saying? But the thing about it is that you know, this thing called family don't exist. At least, as I said, not in this country called the United States of America that I'm living in, and that most of some of you listening to this live is living in. And whether you want to accept the truth deep down in your heart, deep down in your soul, you know that I'm telling the truth. Because some of you come from similar circumstances that I come from. Maybe not the same exact circumstances, but similar and even to some point close to the same circumstances that I come from. You see? So y'all know what I'm talking about. And like I said, y'all know deep down that what I'm saying is the unadulterated truth. You know? And we just gonna have to start accepting this for what it is. And if we don't, we gonna continue on existing like we do, with nothing but division. You know, society division has permeated society so much to where even if you see someone on the streets that may be related to you by blood, like I spoke about the example with the father and son aspect of it, do you know that it's actually rival gang members in places like Chicago and Los Angeles, California, that have actually tried to kill each other over rival gang affiliation and didn't even know they was related to each other by blood. Yes. We got people that are in the Crips and Bloods, in the Vice Lords, in the Gangster Disciples that will actually kill each other, whether they wearing their hat tilted an opposite way or whether they wearing different color clothing on their bodies, but actually be ready to kill each other over something like that and don't even know that they're relatives. This is the type of situation where we're in. I've actually heard of brothers in prison, actually incarcerated in the same prison, stabbing each other. Actually, I remember this one guy. He didn't help raise me, but I was around him somewhat when I was a young child, and my aunt used to mess around with him, you know, and one of my aunties who's now deceased, may she rest in peace, used to mess around with him. And they used to call him twin because he had a twin brother. So they called them both twin. Well, both of them ended up in prison, and they was in the same prison. And one twin killed the other twin. You see? In prison. Not this didn't happen on the street. This happened in prison. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, the thing with that is, man, is that, you know, this thing, as far as division, when you dealing with those that are related to you by blood kindred line, it's very complicated and very serious when it comes to the dividing nature behind it. You know, I remember a while back hearing about two brothers in my hometown in the local news there getting into an argument and one killing the other brother. And it was probably over something that wasn't even worth arguing about. You see what I'm saying? But this guy then just got killed by his own flesh and blood, who come from the same wound as he did. You see what I'm saying? So, I mean, man, you know, when you think about these kind of things, and I say to myself, man, you know, it ain't no such thing as family. Even as we knew when we were growing up as kids, at least as me and brother Taalib knew when we was growing up in the 60s and 70s as children, you know, family is simply not family no more like it used to be. And that's just the reality of that. And with that said, you know, I know brother might want to give some input thought to help us close out. And of course, he might turn the mic back over to me since I started with this topic to close us out. But I'm gonna digress and turn the mic back over to him if he have anything to say regarding this topic.
No, well, it's all three. Out to I Forever. He says, peace, brothers. It all starts at the foundation of home base. We've been systematically displaced as a so-called family system. That's
That's who?
IMGA Forever.
Okay. Before I turn this over to you, brother, I want to respond to that. Okay. It started from the home. Okay. Like I began this live podcast with saying was before it even reached the home, it starts in the streets. Let's forget these people that decided to get together to have a union by helping to birth children in the world, which can be a part of starting a family if it's structured like that, as you say, in the home, didn't meet in a home. They met outside somewhere in the street, probably at some strip club or something, probably at a regular after hour club or something, or at a shopping mall, like I said before. But they met on the streets. It didn't start in the home. If you go back earlier to what I said, and even once this video is posted, when our live shuts off, you would see how I basically chronically organized the topic by implicating that before the situation reaches the home, or perhaps the bedroom as well. Since we want to talk about the unquote family matter situation like that, I said that we must understand and realize that we started this situation on the streets. It began on the streets. You know, it actually began on the streets. You know, it actually began on the streets. It did not begin in the home. I'm gonna repeat it again. It began on the streets. All relationships that start with opposite sex couples, especially when it's involving helping to birth children in the world, starts from the streets. At least in this world or modern society that we live in, it starts from the street. And if you don't think so, ask those parents. You may even be a parent yourself, the one that made that comment that I'm responding to. But ask many parents, even grandparents or grandchildren, where did they start from? Where did they meet at? First, let's ask them a question. How did they meet each other? And where did they meet at? And I bet you probably 99 plus will tell you they met on the streets. And with that said, once again, I would digress and turn the mic over to our brother Taalib Ibn'rad.
Well, on that note, we're gonna go ahead and get there. And thank you for sharing this conversation with us. Again, we're not something on Facebook because Facebook flagged my page again. I expect them to go ahead and tear it down. Whatever they have, their bull crap. You can't, what they say, you can't cry over spilled milk. It's their garbage. You know, it's our fault that we don't have our own forums where we can speak without them messing with us, because what we talk about is none of their damn business. Anyway, it's not none of their business. But we don't support. I remember there's many brothers and sisters who have tried to create alternative Facebook and YouTube channels, you know, platforms. But unfortunately, some of them they weren't technically sound. Like I forgot what the name of those was, but anyway, we didn't support them anyway because they was asking for money. And we didn't want to give nobody nothing. They like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and all this because you can make money off of it. You know, so that's where you're gonna find our people. To my knowledge, these folks don't even support big shots like Louis Farrakhan or Tariq Nasheed. They don't go to their personal websites. If you don't put something on the white man's media, even if you Farrakhan, they're not gonna really get in contact with you like that. They don't support Louis Farrakhan, the Nation of Islam website. I know Young Pharaoh had his own website. They did not. If you don't put something on Facebook, the white man's media, nobody's gonna listen to you. They're not gonna come to your website. And these are the big shots. So, because I wanted to start my own website, but I'm like, why should I spend the money? Why should I go through all that if these folks aren't gonna come? Because if I do it on my own site, when you're on your own website, you can speak and whatever and do whatever the hell you want to. But of course, and Tariq Nasheed will still be making money on his own. They still won't come. We won't support. We just got this thing in our head. The white man's ice is colder than ours. Even when it comes to our favorite people. Young Pharaoh, they won't. I noticed that. What's his name? More Science Temple. What's his name? Tahaka Bay.
Tahaka Bay.
He tried to do it. Didn't work.
Oh, what they set his hook? They set his hook up down.
No, he tried to set up his own website.
Oh, okay.
He has almost 40,000. Even that chick, what's her name? Cynthia G. They all can create websites. These people will not come. They will not come to your website. You have to. Omar Johnson, he should be able to have his own website. And they come in and he can talk however he feels. But he's on Instagram. And he kept messing with Facebook until, Facebook just kept flagging his channel down. All he got left now is Instagram. And pretty soon he might not be on Instagram pretty soon. I've heard some of the things that he said. He's not saying I think that should get him shut down like that, but this is their garbage. It's their garbage. It's none of their business how we talk or whatever. They judging you. I don't like that. They shut you down. We shouldn't have to go through that. But this is what we want. This is what we like. So there's no sense to complain. We don't want to do any better. It's not like we can't do any better. We don't want to do any better because the white man's ice is colder. Even these Pan-Africans. Where y'all website at? No, you on YouTube. You on Facebook just like the rest of us is. Facebook, Instagram. Where the Pan-African website? They won't support them. They won't support them. And when you first start off, when you're a fledgling, you have to have, when you first start doing these things, you need that money, you need that capital to get because some of us don't have the talent. So you need to buy the talent, so that you can get started, you get this off the ground. And pretty soon, Brothers and sisters, you can get black brothers and sisters with businesses. They can advertise. You don't need all the advertising that you get from Facebook. You don't need them. I thought y'all was all blackity black. So support the black business. The black business should support you and pay for the advertising on these websites, the black YouTube, the black Facebook. See, we're not real about ours. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad always said, it's because we're gonna have to be forced to do it. We're gonna have to be forced. You know, people blame Dr. Martin Luther King about integration. Oh, the integration, Dr. King. These people wanted to do that all the time anyway. He had nothing to do with that. I never heard Dr. King say, I want to integrate so I can get a cool glass of water from the white man. I never heard him talk like that. They just was looking for justice. They got tired of being treated and humiliated and degraded. Dr. King said, you know, the white man's ice cream is colder, ice cream is better. Never heard him talk like that. These people, as soon as they got opportunity, that's what they did. They always wanted to do it. The slave always wanted to, it's like a cat. You know, you got a cat rubbing up against your leg and you kick the cat away. Get the hell away from me. But then as soon as you stop, the cat is so happy. Ooh, you know, he get to rub against your leg. Massa, meow, meow. He always wanted to do it no matter how you treat. That's how we are. We have a slave mentality. It has nothing to do with Dr. King. We have a slave mentality. We want to rub against the white man's leg. Wow, wow. That's how we do. That's all we want to do. Has nothing to do with Dr. King. That ain't what Dr. King taught. Matter of fact, Dr. King taught economics. Do for yourself. He taught those things. He taught economics. They don't talk about that part of his speeches. He talked about we have to do for self. He taught those things. But they only focus on the nonviolent protest, which the nonviolent protest got your happy pro-black ass, the benefits that you got right now, so you can be on Facebook. And what I wish these people would take these laws away so these people could actually be who they are. They would kick all your black asses off of YouTube, all your black asses off Facebook, Instagram. I don't want no Negroes on my crap. You're able to do what you're doing because of the law. That's the reason. A lot of the reason why women doing what they do because of the law. Take these laws away and watch the real men come out. It's the laws is what got you your little, what they call your butter biscuit. These laws, take these laws away. Women gonna be in trouble again. The homosexuals gonna be in trouble. Black folks gonna be in trouble because it's these laws. Take the law away, it's over, it's done. And we say it here on our program all the time. The right situation in the world happens, we're gonna see the reality of things. You know, because these folks skin in the gray. Look, they said, why racism ain't never going nowhere? Why racism isn't going nowhere? Because somebody is teaching it. Why are there new crack addicts? I'm a baby. I don't know about no crack. Somebody taught the child about crack. Somebody taught the child about drinking beer and getting high. Somebody taught these things. Somebody saw and kept this going. If it was against crack, there should be no crackheads here. This is a new generation. Weren't even born. A lot of these people doing crack right now weren't even born during the crack epidemic. But they're doing crack. They're doing heroin. They're doing meth. Because some adult teach it and they're keeping it going. So they're keeping the racism going. They're getting taught. They will smile in your face. Then they go home. Them Negroes. You know, I'm so glad they flagging Angel Snuffing Up 7. Them Negroes shouldn't be on Facebook anyway. Oh, they talk behind your back. That's the only thing that's protecting everybody is these laws. And once you remove these laws, watch the real people come out. Because that's what they was all the time anyway. And you want to protect yourself. The reason why we keep talking about the Mississippi campaign, so if something should go down, you're in a position to try to defend yourself and help yourself a little bit. Right now, you're done. You're done. And they talk about the white people get burned up in the sun. You think that the black folks gonna take over? No. The person that's the people that take over is the next strongest people. And it ain't you. The next strongest people will probably be worse than white folks.
You see it now. You see it now.
Yeah, you see it now. Absolutely. You see it now.
Excuse me, but yeah.
Yeah, but you're right. You see it now. But I'm stupid. To live is stupid. We don't see nothing. Y'all ain't see nothing. They talking crazy stuff. They don't know. Watch. And really, I would like to be dead myself. I would rather prefer to be dead than step and see this stuff in reality. Because you're going to get it. Not like EnVogue. EnVogue say you're never going to get it. Oh, no, you going to get it. Real good. That foot up your ass, oh, you going to get it. Really, really. And I want to see your God help you. I want to see your Pan-Africanism help you. I want to see your Muslim, more science garbage and Kemetic. I want to see how that help you. Let World War III break out. Let something happen in the world where America, our enemy, finally crossed over the line. Woo! Matter of fact, I was talking to a sister at the funeral last Saturday before last. Scared enemy will cross the border. You know that's going to happen. You know it's going to happen one day. Our enemy going to be able to come here. They already got ballistic missiles that can come here. China got and Russia have missiles that can come across the border into the United States. They already got the capability for missiles. And the missiles break down America weak enough where they can start sending their troops here. Oh, boy, I want to see Allah. I want to see the Egyptian mummies come out and help your happy ass. Then you'll see the real. Then before you die, before you close your eyes, you can say, damn, Snuck was right. It's too late now. It's too late. And these people coming here, they're not loyal to the United States of America. They're not loyal here. You don't know what kind of, how they really look at these, like these other people. Hell, it might be them. When you get weak enough, all them soldiers come from South America be coming here. Not to migrate here to get on your welfare plan. They gonna migrate here to take over. Anybody see this belief? Nobody can beat America. You know, America is so. No, that's a lot. Keep believing that. Keep believing that. Real. That's why I said the Mississippi campaign. At least put yourself in position to get ready. Like these people, what they call them people? They store all of their food and get down and make bunkers. What they call them folks? I forgot what you call them.
The Amish?
No, these people.
You talking about you talking about survivalists.
Yeah, well, that's not really the name, but that's what they do. They plan. They believe in something like that. They believe in like the end of the world type stuff, and they try to get ready when all chaos break out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They get ready years and years.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't think that an enemy, you don't think those people, and even if America don't fall and America survive, it won't never be what it used to be. It'll never be that again. It'll be a whole different ball game. So, you know, me, I'm looking at the future. I'm looking at the worst scenario. You know, your black conscious people and all these other folks, they putting all this fairy tale stuff in. Man, this God and God gonna do this for us. Ain't did a damn thing, ain't did nothing for us in all this time. We're not even together to deserve nothing. So what, God wants to come and all of a sudden put us together, make us unite, make us, that ain't how life, that's not work.
Hey, if China and South Korea start building their navies like the United States got, far as they carrier ships where they could fly their military jet bombing planes off of and stuff like that, America will really be in trouble.
Exactly.
That's the only reason. That's the only reason why they ain't really been able to up their game, their military game, because they ain't got that. They lacking that. But if they start building that and constructing that, oh Lord, you talking about it'll be over with? It'll really be over with.
Well, I heard well, I didn't hear, but I saw an article on the internet while we concentrating on Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. They say that over 100 countries have decided to let the United States dollar go.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I would have to do. I saw an article where it said 100 nations have decided not to deal with the United States dollar. So, these are the type of things. What? I mean, it already happened to one country. I think what was the name of it? It was Greenland, I think. I forgot what Greece. I think it was Greece. I forgot what it was. A small country.
Greece. It was Greece. Greece was one of the countries. Yeah.
Yeah. Remember, the people got up one day to go to the bank, and all their asses was frozen.
Yep. They couldn't get nothing up out them ATM machines. Not a dime.
Couldn't get nothing. When they did open it up, they gave you an allowance out of your own money.
Mm-hmm.
They gave you an allowance out of your own money.
Mm-hmm.
What you think? Well, even Elijah Muhammad teach that. Elijah Muhammad said one of these days the American dollar is not going to be worth nothing, because nobody has to accept it. These people get tired of America, whatever. So I'd rather just deal with my crap. The hell with American money. What you gonna do when people decide I don't want nothing to do with your money? These black conscious people don't teach that. They teach about the Israelites versus the Kemetic people, and that's what their topics is. Satan versus the devil, devil versus God. They're not looking. These are adult people. They're not thinking like adults. They're not looking at these scenarios, because America can only protect you to a certain point. But you can get to the point where, like we say all the time, things get broke down so bad, law can't protect you no more. What you gonna do? Crazy guy was talking about that. What's his name? Nature Boy was even talking about, one of these days we're gonna get y'all women. They ain't gonna be able to protect you. Nature Boy said they're gonna let all the prisoners. See, look, let me tell you something. It can get so bad, and even Elijah Muhammad taught this. They're gonna have to let the prisoners go. They're gonna have to let the prisoners go, because they're gonna be in such a situation. They're not gonna be able to take care of them like that.
They was letting them go during COVID.
Sure was a whole lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
So what you gonna do when you're in a situation like that? We're not thinking like that. At least if you took control of the state, and then you got this kind of mindset, okay, here they come, we ready for them. But now we're just sitting ducks. We just a cat return home ass up and can't nothing. And I know I heard one guy talk about, he got his little pop gun. No little pop gun not gonna do nothing. Matter of fact, you probably be shooting more Negroes than you would the actual enemy. When people get hungry, they find out that you got some food, you're gonna be in trouble. Or water, you're in trouble. How many bullets do you have? You're gonna run out sooner or later with your little pop gun.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but that's what happens when you're individual. At least if you are united and you all of us have the same idea, how are we gonna protect ourselves in the future? If it's not us, we want our children to be ready. But we don't think that way. All thing we think about is the Super Bowl and the NBA final and LeBron James and his son Bronny. LeBron James and his son Bronny. Who gives a damn? Because they're gonna be in the same trouble. If not worse. If not worse. But again, with the foundation, like you said, the topic that you chose is about family. We're not family. It's about individuals. And individuals are easily destroyed. Easily. I don't care if you Bruce Lee. In reality, Bruce Lee cannot fight no 30-ass people at one time. Especially if you're not up against a wall. Because they come in and get you. Once they bring you down, you done. You can't stop no 30. I don't care what kind of kung fu you got, you're not gonna stop no 30 people when they start coming at you like that. Because you're gonna get tired. You're gonna get tired anyway. And as soon as you get tired, all these other fresh bodies coming in on you, you're not gonna be able to stand that long. But that's on us. If that's what you want to do, cool. It's cool. So I want to thank everybody for listening. We had a pretty good audience tonight. Thank you, Brother Taalib. You can go ahead and take us out of here.
Okay. My last words with this here, you know, and piggybacking off what the brother was just saying, you know, yeah, we are already in a dire situation as a country right now. And many of us don't even realize it. And, you know, this thing is bigger than Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. Yeah. They just a puzzle piece part of the situation. That's it. Just like it was 4 years ago and 4 years before that, you know. And at the end of the day, as we've been seeing, the decline of America, since you always got these people, especially the Nation of Islam, talking about the decline of America. Mm-hmm. But what plans are they really making to defend against this? Every time I hear something come out their mouth, that's the question I got. What plans are you making to defend against this? Is there one of them countries over there, the Muslim countries in the Muslim world, that want to take you? Which I seriously doubt.
Yeah.
Especially not with the kind of teaching you teaching. They don't even accept you as a part of the mainstream world of Islam. So you can forget that. And then another thing too is that you're a slave to them. A lot of them Arabs look at you as a slave.
That's right.
Look at how they treat them dark-skinned Africans over there on the continent, still to this day. Like in places like Sudan, Mauritania, where they still actually got legal slavery going on there. You know what I'm saying? Even Libya, the country that Muammar Gaddafi was the leader of for years. Look at them. And who mostly is being enslaved over there? People that have darker skin pigmentation.
That's right.
So, you know, it's like you really don't want to be under their rule. we'll be definitely 3 times worse off than we is up under the white man. Since you always want to scream this and that about the white man and what they done to us, try to live up under the rule of the Arab or the Chinese. Somebody like that really hates your guts. and see what the outcome of that'll be. You know? Shoot. And you know, even go over there and try to live up under the rule of them African countries and them darker skinned countries in Africa and see what the outcome will be. They just, like I remember you saying, they just burnt down a Black American town in Ghana. You know, they was trying to start a settlement there and got it completely burnt down by them locals over there. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you know, so you know, brothers and sisters who left here went over there trying to buy land and ended up losing their life in the process.
Pick to live. That's
Yeah.
family for you.
Yes, sir. Oh, yes. That's family. Like they say, kinfolk ain't kinfolk. All kinfolk ain't kinfolk. Right. Exactly. Right. Man, hell. Yeah, I might as well. Either I might as well stay in America or go to Europe. If I'm just going to travel. You know what I'm saying? Let's be for real about this thing and make it make sense, you know? But anyway, moving along, you know, like I said, yeah, man, we're faced with some situations that we should be able to see clearly before our eyes right now that could lead to, you know, these catastrophes coming, you know, and forbid Donald Trump get in there. We might just be back on the plantation picking cotton. Because, I mean, first of all, yeah, this might not be the smartest, brightest person in the world, of course, especially when you hear him open up his mouth. But let him get some power in his hand and see what he do. He already proved us correct. When he was in there the first time, just imagine how many more times worse it could get if he actually get back in the White House. You know, just because Kamala Harris is winning the popular vote right now, we could go back to when Hillary Clinton ran against Donald Trump and she won the popular vote. But the electoral votes made the difference. That's how he got in there the first time. Because it was the electoral college votes that made the ultimate difference. So don't be putting all your eggs in the basket for Kamala Harris. You know what I'm saying? You know, you might get a surprise next month that you wasn't expecting. You know what I'm saying? A real silly surprise. I mean, because and even in the biblical sense, it says that faith without works is nothing. Even if you're gonna have faith in some, at least work toward it. You know what I'm saying? Don't just sit up there. Exactly. Don't just sit up there and depend on that faith. You will never get nothing. Just like the slaves for years was on the plantation praying for their freedom. But they realized at some point, especially when this country decided to enter into the Civil War, they had to kill or die for their freedom. You see what I'm saying? So you got to put in work. And work ain't easy. I understand that. Even if a lot of us got to lose our life, some of us even got to go to jail, prison. Yeah. But we got to put in work. That's how actual real freedom come.
Yeah.
If you ain't putting in no work like that, then don't expect nothing. It's just that simple. You know, so I mean, hey, you know, I just want to say thank you for allowing me on this platform to speak on this topic about family, so-called family. And also to those of you, hopefully, that is listening and that will be listening once this is posted on YouTube. And also my mistake by speaking out to those I thought that was watching it on Facebook, since Facebook took this brother channel down, like he just got done explaining to us about. Just catch this on, post it on social media, and hopefully, and specifically, I want our youth to see this, especially because there's a lot of our youth homeless in the streets, and that's actually raising each other. Do you know how many homeless children in America it is these days? You can't even compare them type of numbers to when we were children. You know what I'm saying? It's astronomical how many homeless children it is in America on the streets, particularly us, as far as our Black children, youth are concerned, and man, I mean, it's like it's astronomical, and they are actually raising each other. They calling each other mama and daddy, actually raising each other like they the parents, and like you the child. You know what I'm saying? This is actually going on in 2024 America right now. If you don't believe me, like you say, you do the research, go do the research. You'll find it all over social media. Speaking about that type of stuff when it comes to homelessness. You got, matter of fact, you may even have as many homeless children as you do adults. I mean, bad as things has gotten in this country. I mean, look, people can't afford to live nowhere. Rent is getting too high. Even people trying to keep up with rent is one check away from being out the door.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I mean, you didn't even hear people talking like this back in the 70s when I was coming up. But you hear it in 2024, right? So I mean, man, come on, man. We got to get out of this fantasy about family. It's not real. If you become homeless, how about them homeless children I mentioned? How many families have taken them in? How many families have decided to adopt them? Nah, you on your own. Like somebody say, you're not caring to me. You ain't my child. I could care less what happened to you. All this, But the only way you would adopt them is if you getting some money out the deal. If you getting some finances, then you would take them in, right? Yeah, come on. Yeah, man. People, it's this thing is just so fake for real. Don't nobody care nothing about nothing. So you always want to talk about children are the future. Children, right? Exactly. We don't care nothing about no children. Man, all the time I'm out here in the streets, I see mamas letting their kids roam around in places they can't even see them. You know what I'm saying? And then you wonder why so many children come up missing. You see what I'm saying? I mean, I mean, all you got to do is pay attention with your clear, naked eye and see what's going on right before you. You ain't even got to come on social media. Hey, listen, just go every day and just live the reality in the streets, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Yeah, this thing, this is not no game. But we're gonna close out, and like I say, even those of you who were watching this video live, I encourage y'all to watch this video again, because it's a very important message that was brought up in this video tonight, in this live topic. And Also, if you want to, grab a friend or even those who you look at as a family member, you know, wherever they may come from. And y'all can sit down together and watch it. You know what I'm saying? But people need to hear this information. They need to hear this because this is real. This is the reality we all live in. You know, so once again, thank you, brother, for allowing me to come on. And thanks those of you for watching and those of you that commented in the comment section. And with that said, I'm going to X out of here. And peace to everyone. And I'll see you next time.